Hi, welcome to Polvy Stories. Today we're going to talk about how to obtain your Ontario driver's license. Most especially if you're coming from another country and you already have your driving experience, can you exchange your driver's license from your home country into an Ontario driver's license? So that's what we're going to talk about today. So did you know that Ontario has 15 types of driver's licenses, and each license certifies you to drive a specific type of vehicle. So to drive a car, a van, or a small truck, you will need a G-class license. So there are steps to take to reach the G license. The whole process may take up to 2 years. And if after you get your G1, you have up to 5 years to finish the whole process. After 5 years, if you do not get your full G license yet, you will need to start over from G1. But you can fast track this process under certain conditions. So if you're a G1 driver's license, if you want to apply for a G1, you will have to pass an eye test and a knowledge test. If you want to proceed to G2, you have to still wait for 12 months being a G1 before you can take the G2 test. If you pass the G2 test, you will need to wait 12 months before you can take the G test, and if you pass the G test, you will be a full G license holder. So you can fast track this depending on certain conditions. But before we talk about that, just so you know the difference, if you are G1 driver's license holder, there are certain conditions. You should have a zero blood alcohol level. You must not drive alone. You should always be with an experienced driver. And the experienced driver should have at least 4 years of driver's license or driving experience. You should have a working seatbelt for all passengers. You must not drive on 400 series highways. You must not drive on certain high-speed roads, and you must not drive between 12 a.m. to 5 a.m. If you are a G2 driver's license holder, you should still have a zero blood alcohol level. You should have a working seatbelt for all passengers, but you can already drive without another experienced driver in the car. So there's not much of a difference if you are a G2 license holder and if you are a G license holder. But you will still want to proceed to the G license, because if you don't get your G license within 5 years of getting your G1, then you have to take the test all over again, starting from G1. So what happens if you fail the road test? If you're a G1 license and it's not yet expired, you can just try the road test again. But if your G1 is already expired, you have to start all over again and pay the test fees again. If you're a G2 license holder already and it is already about to expire because you haven't taken your G test or you failed your G test, you can take your G1 road test again and get 5 more years as a G2 to finish the whole process again. So like I said, you would like to finish the whole process and get your G full license in 5 years to avoid all these hassles. So you can skip your G2, as I have said. In my case, I have a driver's license from the Philippines and I am already driving for more than 2 years. So I got my certificate from LTO main office in East Ave in Quezon City, and then I applied for G1 within 6 months because that's the validity of my certificate. And after passing the eye test and the knowledge test, I took the G test right away. So I bypassed the G2 because of all the documents I have submitted and because of my driving experience. So if you are a new resident here in Ontario, you have 60 days to be able to use your valid license and drive in Ontario. But after 60 days, you need to get your Ontario driver's license to be able to drive anywhere in Ontario. So you can exchange your driver's license from other places or countries if you are from any Canadian province or territory, if you're a member of the Canadian Armed Forces, or if you're from any US states and you have a driver's license from there, or if you're coming from these following countries. So listen carefully. If you're from Australia, Austria, Belgium, France, Germany, Great Britain, the Isle of Man, Japan, South Korea, New Zealand, Northern Ireland, Republic of Ireland, Switzerland, and Taiwan, if you have already 2 years of driving experience and you came from all those countries, you just need to take an eye test. After you pass this test, you get a full license, a G license. So that is so easy and fast. But if you have less than 2 years of driving experience but you came from those countries, you can take your eye test and you can take the G test after you complete the whole 2 years. So for example, you have a 21-month driving experience from your home country, you have to wait for 3 more months to be able to get your G test or to take your G test. And if you pass that, you will get your full G license in Ontario. So you cannot exchange, sadly, if you did not come from any of those countries mentioned before. In my case, I came from the Philippines and it's not part of the Ontario agreement with other countries or any other places. So I have to take another process. But don't worry because it's still fast track. So what I did is I presented a proof of my driving experience. I presented a certificate from the Land Transportation Office from the Philippines, and it states there when I started driving. So it will be a proof that you have been driving or I have been driving for more than 2 years already, and I already have a driver's license back in my home country. So since I already have more than 2 years of driving experience, I just took a written test. That's the knowledge test, and then the eye test, and then I passed both of those tests. So I already took my G test without even taking the G2 road test. So I got my full license in less than a year, in just a couple of months. So if you have a driving experience from another country but it's less than 2 years, then you can take your written test or the knowledge test and the eye test. But before you get a full license, you also need to take two road tests. So you need to take the G2 and the G. So you have to take the whole process. So you can book the first road test upon passing the knowledge test and the eye test. But after you pass your G2, you cannot take your G road test right away. So you have to complete the 12 months. So having said all that, this is how to apply for a driver's license. So present all the necessary documents. In my case, I presented my passport, and since the name or the surname in my passport is not exactly the same as that in my driver's license, I had to present an additional document, which is my marriage certificate. So I paid the applicable fees, I took the knowledge test, the eye test, and then the G test. So that's all the process. Thank you very much for listening. If you have questions, please ask it in the comment section. And please don't forget to subscribe. I try my best to answer all the questions as much as I can. Thank you so much for listening and see you on my next video.